Hey y'all. Okay, so this is the third video on perseverance, and today we're going to talk about the enemy of perseverance. Now, once you've decided to stay in a season of difficulty, once you've decided to stay in a season of hardship and not give up and not bail on the process and let God use you and let God just do in you what He wants to do, that's a choice that you made. Once you've made that choice and you're not going to run from it, but when you're going to sit in there and let God, just do what He has to do in your life and get you ready for the next season, the enemy always have one more attack to come with. You see, he is so used to the season and the time of perseverance being so harsh on people and so hard on them that they bail. That when you decide to sit, he comes with another attack. And this attack that he uses is what I call the enemy of perseverance, and that is comparison. Once you sit there and decided, I'm going to go through and let God mold me and let God make me, the one thing that the enemy will just bombard you with is comparison. He will cause you to look at everybody's life around you. He will cause you to scrutinize the life of your friends, scrutinize the lives of your peers, any person around you, and cause you to just tend to think that the grass is greener on the other side, which necessarily may not be true. And we often fall in that trap because what we're going through is tough, and then we look at other people's lives and it looks like, well, they're not having this fight, they're not having this struggle, everything seems to be going fine for them. What's wrong with me? Why do I have to go through this? And then we tend to compare our lives with those that are not walking the walk that we are. And I think that's where the enemy comes and messes up the whole work that perseverance is doing in us, because once he gets our eyes off of what God is doing in us through perseverance and cause us to start looking at other people, you begin to lose focus. You begin to lose sight of what God wants to do in your life. And instead of now being steadfast in being molded, steadfast in being groomed and pruned, and God building character in you, because that's what He's doing in your time of perseverance. Instead of doing that, He takes your eyes off of that and causes you to look outward at what other people have. Now, what does that do? That causes you to tend to move away from what you're holding on to and what you've decided to sit in, and that's perseverance. Because the enemy knows if he can get you to bail on the process, the work that God wants to do in you would not be complete, because there's a work that can only be done during the difficult seasons that you're persevering in your life. There's a work in your heart that can only be done during that time. God uses perseverance to mold us, and hard times where we have to persevere to mold us and to shape us and to fashion us. So the enemy will cause us to look out and compare our lives and compare our situations and compare our money, compare our home, our children, whatever it is that we're struggling with, that we're in at that moment, to compare it with other people's lives and just having us divert our attention to the wrong thing. So I want to encourage you to be careful of that spirit of comparison that comes in to cause you to be distracted as you've decided to sit in perseverance and let God mold you. Do not let the enemy, through his deceptive devices, abort what God is doing in you through perseverance. Perseverance is not a bad thing. God is shaping and He's molding you. Don't be distracted. Don't get off course by comparing your lives. It's not always greener on the other side. I remember one day I was sitting in the front of my house on my front porch, and I looked over at my neighbor's house. And every time I look over there, I always thought, oh my gosh, their grass is so green. Their lawn always looked really healthy. And from where I live across the street. But one day my neighbor came over, and my neighbor asked me for the contact number for the painter that had painted my house. So I told him I didn't have it at the moment. I think I lost the number. My husband had the number, so I said I would get it and I would drop it in your mailbox. So I got the number, and I remember going over there at my neighbor's house to put that number in his mailbox. And let me tell you something, when I got over there, and I got up close, and I was walking up his walkway going, and I looked, because the lawn always looks really healthy, and I look at that lawn. I could not believe the dry patches that was in that lawn. That lawn was so malnourished. When I got up close, there were patches, there were brown grasses in there. It was so, it was not as well kept as it looked like across the street. And I could not believe it. And at that moment, I thought, oh my gosh, this really brought to light the thing that everybody, the saying that people say, the grass always looks greener on the other side. But in that moment, I'm like, my goodness, my lawn is actually healthier than his lawn. Because if you come up close to my grass and look, there's not a patch in there. There's not a brown patch in there. There were like parts of it where the grass was even gone, and you can see the bare dirt. But somehow from across the street, it just looked really healthy and really green and really kept. But that was just the surface grass that I was seeing from across the street. So, it's like the Holy Spirit gave me a teaching moment right there. It's like you never compare your life to anyone else's. You never compare your situation to anyone else's, because you know what? From a distance, it looks good. From the pages of social media, it looks good. But actually getting up close, getting in someone's house, spending a day with them, having a conversation with them, you'll find out that their life is not as all as it looks and as they're portraying it to be on the outside. So don't get caught up in comparison while you persevere. Because you know what that does? It just leads you to have a pity party. Oh, it's me, and why me, and why do I have to go through this, God? And look at their life, and I'm living for you. That's not what their life is really like. That's just what you're seeing. You don't know that's what their life is like, that it's that good and it's that fabulous. So be careful as you're going through this season of perseverance, as you trust in God, as you believe in God, as you're holding on to the promises of God, and it seems tough and it seems hard. Do not fall for the trap, for the enemy of perseverance, which is comparison. Do not fall into the trap of comparing your life. It is a distraction. It is a diabolic distraction by the enemy that's been sent to get you off course and get you off centered from what God has for you. So that's my thought today on perseverance. Do not get entrapped by the enemy of perseverance, which is comparison. God bless you.